Welcome to my origin story. We all have a superhero origin story. It's how we got to this point. It shaped who we are. Usually, like all these superhero stories, it involved us going through something or maybe many things, uncomfortable, painful, that required us to grow, that forced us to change, to become who we are. Because let's face it, if we're not faced with challenge, if we don't go through some sort of challenge, some sort of stretch, most of us would choose to stay exactly where we are. So what looks like challenges show up in our life to help us grow and become this new version of ourselves, just like all these superhero movies. So whatever you've been through, it's led you to this moment. Whatever I've been through led me to this moment. Now, one of the reasons I want to share my story with you is because when we hear somebody else's story, it helps us look at our own story differently. And most importantly, it helps us change our story, which is probably the most important thing we can do as a human being. Our story, which is the narrative we tell ourselves based on all the beliefs we hold to be true about ourselves and the world, that story dictates all of our results. We will never let ourselves rise above what our current story allows. So we have to change our story about who we are and what we're capable of to change our results. So I'm telling you my story to give you some perspective on your own story. My hope, my desire is that you watch this and you go, oh my God, I never thought of this in my own story. You start to see yourself differently and then change your results. So that's why I'm telling you my story. My hope is that it will help you to change your own story. Okay, so here is my story, and I'm gonna give you the flashy headline first, and then we'll work backwards. In 9 months, I went from painting houses to making $100,000 cash in my coaching business, and my life changed forever. So that's a sexy, flashy thing, and I hope it got your attention. It's real, every word of it's true. It's sexy, it's flashy, it's attention grabbing. And I want to be real about what it took to get there. Otherwise, you'll hear that and go, well, he did something I can't do. He has something I don't have. That's what we do with people. We see people who are succeeding, who are winning, who are doing something amazing. We go, well, it's easy for them to do. I used to do that shit all the time, but I don't anymore. So it's been a really winding road to get here. I did so many things for being a coach and running this business. I painted houses, as I said. I worked in a cafe. I did a lot of manual labor in a lot of different states for a lot of different people. I was a professional musician for many years. I led meditation retreats. And the idea was, with all of those stops, or most of them anyways, I thought I had found the thing I was going to do. And I exhaled. I wanted to step out of the unknown so badly. I wanted to find the thing and just be done. However, what I really wanted to do is not have to grow anymore. Not have to live in faith, not have to be in the unknown. Life, though, has a way of making sure we get where we're supposed to be. It pushes us, it bumps us, it knocks us over to reorient us. So I'm so glad and grateful to life that happened. A lot of moments it sucked, it was really rough, but ultimately I'm really glad it happened because I'm here. Looking back, though, I wish I had trusted myself and life much more. In all the moments where shit felt really hard, I just breathed and went, all of this is for me. And then I had just stuck with the vision. I know what I want, let's go. Because I spent a lot of time taking one step forward, and then something would happen, and I'd take 2 steps back. And I was stuck in this back and forth cycle. It was really rough, it was very uncomfortable. So what I always knew is I wanted to do something that changed people's lives. I didn't know what that would be, but I knew I wanted to do that. There was always something in me. Some of my earliest memories were, I've always been a music lover, but before I ever played music at all, I would see myself on stage, like huge concerts, playing music. And yeah, in that image, like the adoration was nice. People liking what I was doing, it's nice. But what was more touching was everybody in the audience being so moved by music. I've always been really moved by music. So when I imagine myself being a musician when I was really young, that's why I wanted to do it, to like light people's hearts on fire. So I did end up doing that. Many years later, I started playing music when I was 21, which is pretty late for most people. And I didn't end up playing in these huge stadiums. They see my vision. But I played in front of lots of different rooms full of people and had these incredible experiences. What was wild though, right? I didn't know it at the time, but that was life actually preparing me for another stage. Again, I thought that's where I was. That's what I was supposed to do. Life was actually showing me at that time how to do what I do now, but I didn't realize it. Another interesting part of my story, because I know it will speak to you, right, is I've always been the person other people come to talk about what's going on, what their problems are, what they're challenged with, etc. Now, I wasn't always very good necessarily at helping people. I had to grow a lot, but I was always a person people felt comfortable talking to. And that was really important. You know, life leaves us clues, just like success leaves clues, but life leaves us clues. And it's like life whispering, going like, hey, Tristan, just like pay attention to this. I remember, I wasn't even planning on sharing this story, but I will. I remember being 21, and I was in Manhattan with my girlfriend at the time, and our friends wanted us to go see some show or something. And we were in her family's apartment. Her older sister was there. And I remember just something in me was like, do not go to that show, stay here. And her older sister like really opened up to me. I didn't think much at the time. It was just being present and talking to her. And afterwards, my girlfriend, her sister, was like, oh my God, I've never seen her open up like that and share. That was one of those moments where life's like, hey, Tristan, like pay attention to this. This is for you, man. So this idea of at some level knowing how to allow people to be comfortable sharing these deeper parts of themselves led a lot of places for me. It led to teaching one of my spiritual mentors, his body of work, leading meditation retreats. And what's key about this and why I'm sharing it is when I got to that place of leading these retreats, I thought I'd made it, meaning I thought I would do this the rest of my life. I was so relieved. I thought I'd made it. My ego was like, we did it, man. Good job. We can chill out now. But then I started hearing this voice. I was like, hey, man, this is not it. This is not the end for you. This was a step. I knew I had to work one-on-one with people. I didn't even know what that looked like, right? I barely even knew coaching existed, but I knew I needed to do it. And this is where I started to have to change my story. I was terrified to stop doing that thing, that other thing, the retreats. I was terrified. I was terrified to try to start my own business. I had no idea how to do any of this stuff. But I had to start changing my story and go, if I have a desire, there has to be a way. And what I did is one day I just cold turkey walked away from leading those retreats because I knew if I didn't, I would really never stop doing it. So throughout this video, right, I'm going to highlight these points where my story changed so you can see what that looks like. Because all I'm here to do is help you change your story so you can change your results. That's all we're here to do. So one of the story changes was going, I got to walk away from this other thing, leading these retreats. It's not taking me where I need to. And I'm going to have the faith to do that. So I started coaching at that point, slowly, and I did it on the side about 2 years. I was painting houses, which was fine. I worked for myself. It was cool. Wasn't what I loved, but it was all right. And I was coaching on the side. And little by little, I started to build up the coaching business. The problem was I didn't trust myself to go full bore into coaching. I didn't trust that I was good enough, that I would make enough money, that I could support my family. I just had a lot of fear and a lot of doubt. Now, what happened is I felt incredibly frustrated. I felt sad. I felt angry. I wasn't letting myself do what I wanted to do purely out of fear. And I was talking to a mentor in person one time. I wanted to ask him a question. I started sobbing uncontrollably, and I had no idea why. And when I regrouped and I regained some composure, I realized what had happened. It was all that pent up emotion that I had to suppress just to keep going doing this thing I didn't really want to do. It all came pouring out. That was another story change for me in that moment. I realized I can't keep going forward if I'm always holding all of this stuff in. I actually have to face what I'm feeling. It's a simple idea, but almost everybody you will ever meet, probably including yourself and definitely including me still, we suppress what we're feeling because it feels easier to ignore it. We know that if we don't suppress it, we face it, life's going to change fast. That was a huge wake-up call for me. And it lit a fire for me. Realizing how fucking upset I was not allowing myself to do what I wanted to do, lit a fire. So I won't do that to myself anymore. No way. So I made two decisions. I stopped painting houses like cold turkey in that moment. I will not do that again. That's it. Done. And I decided to hire the mentor I really wanted to work with. So here's another story change. I used to be in wait and see mode. Well, I want to make more money. Let's see what happens. I want to hire that mentor, that coach, but let's see what's happened. See if the money showed up. So that had to change. I had to get into a place where I chose. This is for me. Let's go. So a week later, I was on the phone call with that mentor. I was so terrified. I thought I was going to puke. This was a call where I would decide if I was going to work with this person. I remember thinking, thank God it's a phone call and not a video call, because I was like doubled over. I thought I was going to puke. I had always stopped short before. I'd get to a point of a huge decision and then stop, and I'd almost always use money to do it. And something in that moment switched for me. That fire was so lit, and I said, I will not do that again. So another story change. I will no longer use money to stop. That's not who I am anymore. So I just decided not to on that call. So on that call, I committed in that moment. I put down half the money we had, which is like $250, literally. I was so scared. I didn't even know how I was going to pay my bills. And I got off that phone call. And I'm going to use the word God. You guys use whatever word you like. I don't care. Hey, God, I'm doing this. I just made a non-refundable commitment. I will not lose that money. And I'm making this change. Show me what to do and I'll do it. And I really meant it. So another story change. I decided to have faith. Not in a Christian sense, in a non-denominational sense. I just decided to have faith. I'm asking for this thing and it's going to be provided. So I said to God, like, I'll do whatever you show me. I'll call whoever you show me. I'll text, I'll do whatever. But I'm bringing this money, and I had made a commitment to bring in $5,000 that night. It was like 7 p.m. I brought in that much in a month once, and I had no idea how to replicate that. So I held faith, meaning I made some calls, some texts, like none of the money came in. I went to bed still happy, still going, this is happening, done. This is a done deal. Next day by 2 p.m., I had $6,500. My mind was blown. It's the most I'd ever made in a month, and I did it in less than 24 hours, way less than 24 hours. And it was easy. I just did what I was shown to do. And within 5 days, I'd made $11,500. Guys, I'd been trying to do that for 2 years, make $10,000 in a month. I did it in 5 days, and it was easy. My mind was blown. I knew I had made an irrevocable change. And I did. That's where that $100,000 in 9 months started. I stopped painting houses, and within 9 months from that moment, I made $100,000 because I had changed my story in so many different ways. You can go back and note every single place I did it in this video, but that's how this works. I had to change it piece by piece, and one of the reasons I did that in a grander macro way was to make it easier for you. You don't have to go through all the pain points I went through. Part of it is like, I look at it right as I went with a machete to carve this path for you, to make it a little easier for you, just as my mentors did for me. But the whole idea here is, if you're willing to change your story, your results can change. So you see how powerful your story is. If you change your story, your results will change. They have to. Your results, basically, we're calling your results everything showing up in your life. Your results are like a movie screen. They are determined. They are just a projection of what's going on in your mind, which is dictated by the story you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible for you. When you change your story, your results will change, and they can change so quickly. That's what I want this story to show you. My story. I want that to show you how quickly your life can change, how quickly your bank account can change, how quickly your business, your relationships can change if you have the courage to think differently than what you've been taught to think. You can't create a result that exceeds your story. Your story will always be the limit of what you allow yourself to create. But it's why I love this work. It's why I'm making this video, literally. It's why I do what I do. It lights me up beyond anything I've ever seen. What happens when we change? What we see as our potential, our true potential, is a tiny fraction of what we're actually capable of. So what lights me up to do this in my own life and do this in the lives and businesses of other people is to help you change that story and expand it so you can continue to see what's possible. And if you practice the stuff that I'm showing you, your results will change, and they'll change dramatically. So all of these videos that I'm going to do from here on out, every single one in a way is only about you changing your story, because if you do, your results will change. My origin story is there to help show you what's possible. Yours will be different, hopefully even more expansive, more prosperous, more abundant. But a lot of the principles will be the same. You'll have to challenge your core beliefs so you can get new results. So please subscribe to this channel if it speaks to you. Please share it with others. Everything here I'm sharing, not because it's theoretical, but because it's practical. It's what I've used to change my life from the bottom up. And I continue to do it every day to incredible results. All right, send lots of love. Here's to your success. Please reach out. Let me know I can help you. See you soon.